It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you last week? Oh, man, it was crazy last week. We got to get some of this little fuzz out the screen so you can see better. All right, let's see what's going on here. We got to fix this. We got to make this happen. Okay. All right. Well, we'll make the adjustments later. Because I just want you to get the best experience possible. Well, listen, let me just go over some highlights of last week. Well, one of the days last week, we talked about Amazon being able to keep their promise that they'll be running their delivery service program for minorities. Yeah, because with this DEI going bye-bye and everybody, supposedly trying to boycott Amazon to teach them a lesson like Target, we might be kind of throwing a monkey wrench in some of the minority programs that Amazon has started. Now, there's one individual who has come up. He's got some crazy increase since he's started his delivery service program partnership with Amazon. Even took his company back to his hometown so that he could help build up his people. And I was asking the question of, do we kind of make a mess when we are trying to prove one point and we get to another result that we may not have actually thought about when we first started this process of we boycotting and we ain't supporting and things like that? Because the fact of the matter is, people have worked very hard. And you know what? We need to be concerned about our people who have worked very hard to come up. We can't, yes, there will be casualties of war. We do know that, but we need to be mindful. And we need to go to God before we make these moves so that we can make sure that, what we're doing is the right thing. Okay. Just can't be about what we feel. But we're coming back to that. Well, Wednesday with our girl Vivian was hot, and she gave us some information about our gas bill that is going up and away, up to about $65 in total by this time next year. And ain't much look like we could do about that. What about the disabled people who may need to lean on the walls in order to wait for their train, or the elderly people? Yep, here we go again. Casualties of war. MTA is worried about their money. So they're replacing the wooden benches with what they call some leaning bars. Now, as a disabled individual, them leaning bars wouldn't do a thing, because when your legs just ain't got the strength and you need to make it happen and you got to sit down. So unfortunately, I didn't even hear Vivian say that they were going to leave one or two. They are removing totally every wooden bench. So prayers up to the elderly, disabled, because they weren't about homeless people. Fix the homeless problem. Get the homeless people up out of the train station. Yes. And then pay attention to the people that really matter. So I'm going to pay attention to the free people, not the paying people. Okay, we all twisted. Well, talk about twisted. There's a mother of 5 who has been deported, 37-year-old, into a part of Asia that she has no idea as to where she is. And she is out of insulin and almost out of high blood pressure medication. Yo, talk about a disaster waiting to happen. That is a disaster waiting to happen. So again, this world is really twisted. I got to tell you, because to prove it, what it's showing is to prove one point, we're twisting up another world. And it just can't be like this. It just cannot be like this. Well, talk about it just can't be like this. Whoa, what about the couple where the woman checked her credit card bill and he had spent money, her husband had spent money on his ex's, not the ex-wife, but just the ex's children for Christmas gifts and didn't tell her. Yo, again, fixing one thing and jacking up the other thing. Now you gonna fix the issue of, these children and their father is in jail and they need, you've been playing a role when you were together with their mama, and you gonna mess up your marriage? Yo, what is this world coming to? I don't get it. And that kind of took us into the Word Prayer Project last night, man. When I tell you there was so much clapping by Pastor Steph going on, and that room was lit. They were preaching in the room. Yes, you missed it. If you didn't get that prayer in, you missed it. Oh yeah, I told you to hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell. I told you. Yes, see, Pastor Steph is not the individual who says, I don't like to tell you I told you so. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you I told you so. I told you to get up in that this room right here. Get up in the room so you don't miss anything. And last night the topic was trusting God with your life. And look at all we talked about last week. If we were to trust God with our life, listen, we're shaking the Monday morning blues today, and I got to tell you some things. Everything this world tell you to do, you ain't got no business doing. Oh. Everything that seems right, everything that feels right, you ain't got no business doing. I'm sorry, even if it's for the right reason. This is why we got to trust God with our life, because let me tell you something. If God ain't happy with what you're doing, it don't matter how right it looks in man's eyes. Yes, I'm telling you. I don't care. We had this thing Friday where, it's like, he should have bought the kid, the ex's kids, the toys. Why? Because you feeling good? Because guess what? If you hated her, you'd be hating the kids. Yes, I'm sorry. Don't play this game any other way today. Because let me tell you something. When there's a breakup, all the kids are casualties of war. No matter how much they was calling you uncle and all of this kind of stuff, and you was Lord lovey-dovey and carrying them up all over the place and shopping with them, for them, and about them. And when y'all break up, there goes the children on the wayside. So now we're supposed to feel all good because now everybody deciding that, this is the time that we should buy the kids some Christmas gifts, and you jacking up your current relationship, not only your current relationship, but your marriage for an ex. Listen, trust God. He gonna take care of them kids while you try to take care of your marriage. Because trust me when I tell you, that is not something that God might be happy with. Trust God with your life. Stop doing what everybody else is telling you to do. Stop going with your feelings, because that ain't necessarily gonna get it done either. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have bought the children anything, because you ain't supposed to be celebrating Christmas no way. So see, already, that's why you jacked up in the first place. But even if it was a birthday gift, if it was all legal, and I hope you know what I mean when I say legal, if it was right what you were doing, then how have you managed to get into a marriage and this woman does not know how you feel about these children? Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. How is it that you were dating before the marriage? You got married. And check this out. It was her credit card. But because it was community as far as he was concerned, she shouldn't have had a problem with it. Well, shouldn't have been community that information? That information that you held back, should that have not been community information? Oh, we can't play the game one way and we don't play it the other way. Come on. We're going to have to play this game thoroughly. We can't be all on one side of the fence and then on the other side of the fence, we ain't playing this game right. So already, you twisted. Already you twisted. So, listen. The fact that a lot of these merchants can just let you swipe, you ain't got to show the card you got in your hand, you ain't got to show whose name is on the card. That's all you need is access. Access Jesus. Trust God with your life, not what the world is telling us to do, not the trend of the world, but trust God with what He wants you to do with your life. All right. Ooh, that was a lot. But we shaking the Monday morning blues today again already. And last Monday, I was still kind of under the weather. Well, baby, as you can see, ain't nothing wrong with Pastor Steph this week. Thank you, God. So I'm going to go give you an opportunity to get that healthy breakfast. Oh, go tell somebody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go nowhere because we will be right back.
Were commonplace. A time when a brave and resourceful nurse named Mary Van Britten Brown took matters into her own hands. Living alone in Queens, New York, while her husband was away, she found herself in a neighborhood where crime was rampant and police response was unpredictable. In the year 1966, Brown conceived an ingenious solution. She designed a unit equipped with a camera that could glide into and peer through 4 peepholes in her front door. The images captured by this camera would then be displayed on a monitor inside her home. Thus, she could scrutinize any potential intruders from the safety of her own living room. This was no ordinary nurse. This was Mary Van Britten Brown, the co-inventor of the home security system as we know it today. Her legacy continues to protect homes and lives across the globe.
Hey. Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And we are shaking the Monday morning blues. How are you, everyone? Well, listen, you know how we do. If you're in the room, let me know by giving me a hearty shout out. And I'll holler back. Our first good morning, it's from our girl, Ketty. Thank you so much, Ketty, for joining us this morning. And our next good morning is from our boy, Serge. Hey, Serge. Good morning to you. Our girl, Tamika, good morning. Good morning. I'll be seeing you in a moment. Yes, 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 yes. And we got to make sure we say good morning to the ladies who hold it down all the time in order for us to kind of communicate. Shantice, good morning. And good morning, Anika. Thank you so much, ladies, for making it happen for us. Okay, let's see. All right, we got some out on time today, and we got some stuff going on crazy with this screen and all kinds of things. But you know what? Listen, we're gonna go on. Tried to get it done, couldn't get it done, so we just gonna make it happen today. Okay? All right. So you want to pay attention to this information that we have here. So the tech department is asking me to make some adjustments. So hopefully, let me know if that adjustment is fine. Okay? All righty. Well, we're talking about some cheeses. All right, thank you. Cheeses that we have no business eating. Yep, they are saying that these are the cheeses we should never, ever, ever eat. So let's see. Processed cheese slices. What happened to, isn't that like Borden's and what's that other cheese? Kraft. There we go. And remember, they used to do the whole what do you call that thing? The whole commercial about just eating the cheese slices. Well, they say we should not be eating American cheese in the slices because they are highly processed. They have tons of additives, tons of preservatives, and tons of artificial color. Now, that is contrary to what we were told. Yes, because we told it was all natural. There were no artificial colors. There were no preservatives. So, hey, now they're telling us the real truth. Yeah. So they say while they melt easily and are popular for, let's say, your burgers or something like that, they say the high sodium content is a killer. Yeah. They said, sometimes over 400 milligrams of sodium in one slice. Oh, goodness gracious. They trying to kill us, y'all. They trying to kill us. All right. So let's get rid of the processed cheese slices. Okay. Cheese spreads and cheese in a can. Now, if you remember when we got our nutrition teaching from our girl Athena, she talked about that spray butter or spray like Pam, in the to cook with. And she was like, why would you want to eat something that's been stuffed in a can? Well, cheese spreads. Now, bun and cheese, does that count? Because that show is some cheese spread. And remember the cheese that we used to squeeze and put on the crackers? I used to love that. Oh my goodness. Don't eat it much anymore because it's too expensive. That's the first way to get Stephanie to stop buying stuff. Yes. Well, they say are the worst offenders. Yes. Okay. They say they are far from real cheese. They are also packed with preservatives, emulsifiers, and artificial ingredients. They say they often contain unhealthy oils and excessive sodium. And listen, I got to be honest with you. Yes, it was salty. It was salty. All right. They say easily 500 milligrams of sodium, and the fat content and saturated fats are like out of the roof. So leave that alone. Blue cheese. Y'all about to kill Shantice. So they say while a whole lot of people are liking blue cheese, they say it contains some calcium and protein and is one of the highest in sodium among natural cheeses. Now, maybe the blue cheese dressing may have killed some of that, but let's see if they bring that up. Okay, let's see. They say a single ounce can contain up to 400 milligrams of sodium, and blue cheese is also high in saturated fat. They say those with high blood pressure or heart concerns should be cautious with blue cheese consumption. All right. Brie and triple creme cheeses. Now, I don't think I've heard of this triple creme. I hope I'm saying it right. Cheese. I've heard of Brie. Brie, they say, is known for rich, buttery flavor and creamy texture. However, they say they contain up to 8 grams of fat per ounce, much of which is saturated fat. And they say that triple cream variety are also high in fat, and they are often topping 75% butterfat content. Woo! They say regular consumption of Brie and that triple creme or whatever that is can risk the weight gain and negatively impact heart health. Ooh. Queso blanco and fried cheese snacks. So that must mean mozzarella sticks. And what's another cheese snack? Y'all let me know. Let me see if y'all know. So queso blanco and similar fried cheese snacks can be particularly very unhealthy. And they say they're often deep fried, which adds to the excessive calories and unhealthy fats that are already in cheese. Okay. So they say they're often loaded with trans fats and sodium, making them very, very harmful to our health. Okay, so I don't know. The only thing I could think of with fried cheese snacks would be, like I said, the somebody threw something up in there. Let me see. Polio string cheese is not fried. Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about like mozzarella sticks? No, not fried, not just regular. So let me know if you're talking about fried. Let's say good morning to our friend Terrence. Hey, Terrence, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, we got time for another healthy piece of information. So let's see. Oh, I like this one. I want to talk about this one. So they have the best foods to eat first thing in the morning. Okay. All righty. I'm coming back. First things to eat in the morning, which are the healthiest things. Eggs, and more eggs. They say they are fully packed with high quality protein, healthy fats, essential vitamins like B12. They say it supports brain health and metabolism. And you know that's the first thing you want to get in the morning, right? So they say eggs are incredibly versatile. Well, they're mentioning that you can enjoy them scrambled, boiled, poached, or as an omelet. Yeah. Okay. They say the high protein content helps keep you full and will prevent mid-morning cravings. Okay. All righty. Greek yogurt. Yes. For those of you who drink smoothies, just throw a tablespoon of Greek yogurt up in there. Yeah. You won't taste it. Nah, you won't taste it at all. I promise. No. Greek yogurt, they say, is an excellent breakfast choice because it's rich in protein and probiotics. Okay. They say the protein content helps with muscle repair and keeps you full, while the probiotics promote gut health by supporting beneficial bacteria. Okay. They say add some fresh fruit, nuts, or drizzle a little honey for natural sweetness and extra fiber. Okay. Oatmeal. Listen, we did our study a long time ago on oatmeal, and they say that is one of the best things, you can eat in the morning. Yeah, that's part of go get that healthy breakfast. Sardines, oatmeal were two of the top things that you could eat in the morning for your health. Okay, so oatmeal is up on this list. They say it is fiber rich and it helps to sustain your energy throughout the morning. Okay, they say it contains beta glucan, which is a type of soluble fiber that helps lower cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar levels. Oatmeal is packed with antioxidants and supports heart health. So if you want to get the most out of your oatmeal, pack some nuts, some seeds, fresh fruit, add protein and healthy fats to it. Yeah. Oatmeal, oatmeal, oatmeal. Avocado toast. Ooh. Avocado toast, they say, is this trendy thing that a lot of people are jumping on, but monounsaturated fats, fiber, and vitamins like potassium and folate make it a very healthy trend. Okay, they say that the nutrients help support heart health, keeps you full longer, and you can put the avocado on the toast with like egg or smoked salmon, and you'll have a power-packed breakfast. Okay, berries. Now listen, they say the berry family is all you need. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, they say are really packed with quite a few antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber. Okay, their natural sweetness. Now I don't know what they talking about, because ain't nothing naturally sweet about raspberries, strawberries, and blueberries. No, that's why I don't mess with the strawberries too much, because I can't take that. It's just, but it's very good for you. Very good for you. They say add it to yogurt, oatmeal, or your smoothies. The fiber content in the berries help to regulate your digestive system and keeps your blood sugar levels stable. And it'll prevent the crashings in the morning. Yes. Chia seeds. We're talking about all the foods that you want to make sure you get first thing in the morning. Okay. Chia seeds, they say, an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids and protein. They say they absorb liquid and expand, creating a gel-like consistency that promotes hydration and digestion. Now, chia pudding is really good. It's so easy to make. It takes like minutes to make it, and you can put chia seeds in yogurt, oatmeal, or your smoothies, and you would really enjoy them. Okay, alrighty. Nuts and nut butter. All right. They say nut butter such as almonds, walnuts, and peanut butter. They say provide a great combination of protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Okay. Add some of those nuts to your oatmeal, or spreading nut butter on whole grain toast will definitely enhance your breakfast. So best foods to get first thing in the morning: eggs. Make sure you get them eggs, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, avocado toast, berries, chia seeds, nuts, and nut butter. Alrighty. Let me see if anybody has checked in since last I was here. Oh, okay. Okay, Kenny, I got you. Hey, my brother Ainsley. Good morning, sir. Very happy to see you here early in the morning. Anika says yes, she loves those overnight oats. Okay. On YouTube, I've been seeing some, they mention oats and nuts. And I've been seeing some natural like cookies that contain oatmeal and nuts. Yeah. So I'm going to check them out. I'm going to try them. Again, first thing in the morning, if you want, for those of you who are going to work, you want that energy. So get that oatmeal. It'll help keep you full. And I used to make a mean oatmeal raisin cookie, but it had a lot of sugar in it. So I'm going to try to see if I can find this recipe, and I'm going to try it, and I'm going to let you know about it. Okay. Hey, Miss Charlene, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you so much. All right. What are we talking about in the news? Let's see. The news was whack last night. Yeah, I didn't find any real things that made me want to jump. All righty. Let's see. All right. Those who are getting or will get Social Security checks, there is a different process. There's a different process that they're putting into place here. So they're saying now, under some new policy, you won't be able to verify your identity with the Social Security Administration by telephone anymore. No. Now, I really don't know what that's about because I've never done it over the phone. But if you're applying for Social Security, you can do all of this stuff online now. Yes, it is not the same process. However, it's going to end up being the same process anyway, because there's a part of the process where you verify your identity. And what they're doing now is it must be done either one or two ways. One or two ways. You are either going to have to go online and establish that my Social Security online. And when you do that, they'll ask you like questions that only you should know. I remember setting up the account, and they may ask you something like a car that you've owned in the past, or some credit you may have had in the past, like a creditor. They'll mention like a few creditors. And I've even done one where there was no creditor. I didn't have any of those creditors prior to that. And they don't necessarily mention your first or your last car. It could be any car you've owned that's been in your name. And what else? They have used, an address that you may have used in the past, and an employer. Those are the four things I've come across. Now, I don't know what else they could possibly use, like I said, because they're trying to target things that like only you would know. And they ask you a few things. So it's not like just one thing. It's like, voila, you're like in. So you do have to take some time to establish that my Social Security online, or you have to go in person. Now, the problem with going in person that they're becoming concerned with is the fact that they're closing a lot of Social Security offices. Did not say in the opening. Everything is being washed out by the other thing. So you have targeted a certain amount of Social Security offices to close. And one of the things is a lot of the leases are up. And they're talking about they're not going to renew the leases. Now, I don't know about where you live, but here in New York, we don't have a Social Security office on every corner. Yes. At one point, I was located. My address was in one borough, and I don't ever know where that Social Security office was. No. And when I changed my address, the Social Security office is not that far from where I live, but that's because I just happen to live not too far from it. So how you sending people to a Social Security office that may not be anywhere near where they live? And How do you know the people could get there? So listen, you're going to have to become real savvy because they are giving you the option of applying online. And this is only for new people. If you're already grafted into Social Security, then you ain't got nothing to worry about unless something happens and they tell you, okay, you got to show up at the Social Security office. But for those who are brand new to this, they say they have lost up to $100 million in 1 year because of direct deposit fraud. Yes, so that's what this is about. When you're applying for Social Security, remember now, ain't no more checks for anybody. So in order for you to establish who you are, yeah, you may have to show up. And again, if you could do this online, you put your direct deposit information online. Yeah, listen, for those of you who have a hard time, I don't like to put my information in there. You ain't got no other choice. No, you have no choice. It's up in there. Because at one point or another, you're going to have to establish that account online. So when you open up that account, guess what's up in there? Your direct deposit information. Listen, we might as well just swallow this issue of being vulnerable because they got online banking, and it means that your information is online. Your Social Security information is online. Yes, everything is online. And I'm going to tell you something. Since the pandemic, they are going to push everything on the line. Yes, everything. Because if remember now, there are still agencies that are still working from home. Remember, since Trump been in office, he was the one who called everybody back into the building. So all this time, they've been working from home. A lot of these people have still been working from home for the government. So if they are preparing for if there will ever be a time when we are locked out of this world like we were for the pandemic, and there was nobody working outside but the McDonald's people and they were operating out of a window, yeah, you're gonna have to do everything on this line. And think about it. People are working from their houses with all our information. As Mariah would say, child, yeah. So swallow that, baby. Listen, let me say this to you. Last night we prayed, trusting God with your life. There you have it. Trust God. You ain't gonna have no other choice but to trust the Lord. Let's see what else we talking about this morning. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So there was a mother who was on United Airlines with her child who needs a ventilator and oxygen to help him breathe. Now, she travels all the time like this, and she's normally had no problem. Well, she took a trip from Tampa to New Jersey, Tampa, Florida to New Jersey. Now, when she went, she had no problems whatsoever. Boarded the plane, son was on the ventilator, oxygen, smooth sailing. On her way back home, before they took off, she got seated, comfortable, and one of the flight attendants tells her, you're going to have to disconnect your child from the ventilator and oxygen. Now, this is to help the child breathe. Now, we're not talking about, some of these people, you see them dragging an oxygen tank around with them. So if they were to disconnect for a quick minute, that's not the case. That's no big deal. This particular child, that was a big deal. So so normally you have to have like travel documents. She had the ducks in a row. She had the travel documents, no problem. And lo and behold, the lady walks off. And when she looks up, there are like two other flight attendants and the pilot who told her that she must She must do this until they take off and they reach to a certain altitude, and then the child will be okay to put the thing back on. How you know he gonna last that long? Again. What is this? This is gonna just be proving my point all morning. Again, one rule just dismantles like logic. You know what I'm saying? It's like we just have to have things a certain way. Now, did the first pilot and crew take a chance that everybody gonna die if the ventilator and the oxygen tank stayed on this child? Yeah, they say this was a huge, huge thing. So she gets to her destination and she calls corporate. Well, that didn't do her no good either, because corporate told her that they cannot go outside of the rules. So, man, I tell you, you need to put your life in God's hands, because I'm telling you something. This world will kill you with the aggravation alone. Alone. They will kill you with the aggravation alone. Yes, because it begs to wonder what happened the first go round. Did these people just break all the rules? Did did the crew and the pilot just decide to throw their hands up in the air and, we'll roll the dice. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. Yeah, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. What else are we talking about here today? Oh my goodness. I said it was whack, but oh my goodness. So there's a mother who's in California, and she is in some type of custody battle with the child's father, her son's father. Now, she's 48, the son is 11. So I'm lost here. All right, hold on. Let me just make sure I can get my... All right, I'm going to have to tell this story by memory. All right, so let me tell this story by memory. All right, so here we go. So you have this this couple that's embroiled in some level of custody battle. And now she decides to take the child to Disney. She takes him to Disney and she brings him home and she slits his throat. Oh my gosh. She brings him home and she slits his throat. They found a butcher knife, and she called. She was the one who called and told them that she had killed her son. And they went to the house, and sure enough, they found her sitting right at the butcher knife. And she tried to kill herself. She called and told them that she had done this and she had swallowed some pills and she was on her way out of here. But nope, that didn't happen before they got there. You know what? We talked about this before. Well, how bad could it be for you and your spouse that you would kill the children? Can you imagine? Can you imagine this poor child? Because let me tell you something. I have never seen anyone have their throat slit on TV or in a movie and they just die. That's like suffering, because now they say you like get strangled on your own blood. 11. And you thought you were doing something by taking him to Disney. Yeah. We got to pray for this world. We have to really pray for this world because these people have lost their ever loving minds. Let me see if I can fit one more story up in here. If I can find a decent story. They ain't none of these stories decent. They are all crazy. Oh, now this is something I never even thought about. So they have this. Okay, y'all tell me how y'all feel about this, because I'm like, I don't know. You know, if this is even something that we need to be really celebrating. So we all know that with 9/11, they had a lot of first responders die from the asbestos and all of the toxins that were in the air, from the event. Well, one of a set of workers that they did not consider were the sanitation workers. They say that there have been about 100 and some, 100. They over 100 sanitation workers have died from cancer-related issues because of the attack. And somehow or another, they were just this lost group of people. Yeah, a lost group of people that they never, ever, ever considered. So they have this new law that they are passing. I want to give you the law. It's called the Ignacio Giacalone Act. And it was after one of the sanitation workers who did lose his life from cancer because he was cleaning up the debris from 9/11. And they say that this bill would offer family members of late sanitation workers who cleaned up ground zero some of the same benefits provided to loved ones of first responders who died from 9/11. Now, here's the thing. Are y'all ready for this? Now, when you hear offer some of the same benefits, you're thinking what? You're thinking medical coverage, you're thinking some compensation, you're thinking monetary compensation. They said that this would give the children and the siblings of sanitation workers additional credits on their civil service exams, bringing them in line with firefighters and cops. Whoop-de-doo. Really? So, to compensate those children and siblings who have lost their parents or sibling to cancer because they were cleaning up the debris of 9/11, you giving them extra credits on a civil service exam, making them equal to firefighters and cops. So are you saying that firefighters and cops, their children and their siblings get extra credit on their civil service exams? Are you serious? That's the best y'all can do for these people? Children. They're not here anymore to earn their, to benefit from their parents' wages. Now they may get survivor benefits, but based on their income, that's only a certain amount of money. And all minor children get that. So if you got a big family, what you getting, $5? Yo, they need to be ashamed of themselves. Let me know what you think, because I'm about to find out what our Due Time crew thinks about it. Now, where's my girl, Lady Tamika? Good morning.
Monday morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you? You weren't feeling all that hot week before last. How are you feeling?
I am back on the mountaintop. Thank you.
All right. Amen. And thank God for that. All righty. You know, we started off talking about Social Security and how they are mandating that when you apply for Social Security benefits, you're going to have to start going into the office. If you don't have, I guess you're not tech savvy and you can't get this done online. But the concern now is you're closing offices. So how you have people coming up in a place where they got to travel to get to? What's that about?
There's just so many different ways of fraud now until it's really scary, We're almost at a point where it's like you come in and somebody looks like you, they got a piece of something on their face to make themselves look like it's scary, and for those who don't know how to do it, you're forced to know. You have to get to the point where you reinvent yourself. I remember Big Mama and they kept money up underneath the couch or underneath the rug. Now the way that it is now, it makes it so much. They claim it makes it easier, but in a sense, it does make it more difficult. But it's a safeguard for fraud. You don't want to be taken advantage of, but you still have to be cautious even in that. Watch what you, especially, I've gotten, I don't know how many phone calls saying my Social Security is in jeopardy. We all know that that's a scam, or you get those text messages. But you have to be very careful now with Social Security, and if you don't know, get somebody who can, get you access, get a niece or somebody who's younger than you to help you understand what you're looking at so that you don't get taken advantage of.
Right. That's right. That's right. Somebody got to be able to get you on and set you up. And then after that, you can kind of float because all they have to do is, you write down your password and, in code, you write down your password and you just access it as you need it. So, hopefully you can find someone to get that done. I agree. You just gonna have to do what you got to do. Trust somebody to put that information in there. All right, you got this horrific situation with this mom traveling from Tampa to New Jersey, and she has no problem with her child using a ventilator and his oxygen because this is life-saving for him. And when they're on their way back, she's questioned by one of the flight attendants. She shows her travel documents that indicate that this child needs this life support apparatus, life-saving apparatus. And now the whole crew is standing before her, telling her, just unplug it until we get to a certain altitude, and then you can reattach him to this device. And then she calls corporate, and corporate says, we're sorry, we can't go outside of what's that, FAA or whatever those people are called, who run and have the say over what happens in the sky. What do you think? Do you think that was bogus if they were able to get there with no problem?
I gotta kind of look at that at a side eye, and the reason why I do is I've flown many a times, and I've seen, they tell you to turn your phone off or put it in airplane mode, and I'm looking at you and I'm going, that's not airplane mode. I'm looking at you, looking at Facebook, looking at you, looking at pictures of your family, that Twitter. You're not on, you can't tell me that you're on airplane mode. There are certain things that you can't get access to when you're on airplane mode, and this child has a life circumstance. Anybody who's ever had asthma, COPD, emphysema, any issues with breathing where you need a nebulizer or anything like that, a ventilator, something that you have to plug in, you'll know that seconds matter. We're not talking, we'll be up in the air in, 5 minutes. I can't breathe now. 5 minutes, I could be dead.
Right.
You know, and for them to, I think that was just really, I mean, you've got everybody standing in front of this woman. She has a child that she's concerned about, and he's trying to breathe. You know, I think that's really, you know, I really can't tell you that. I mean, you can't tell me that for that, you know, that's something that you would stop the world for. This is something, you know, so it's a choice of these people's lives or this, my child, you know, I was fine coming, you know, and I'm sure there are other things that you let slide, but this one you can't. I don't think that that's fair.
Yeah. And you have to look at it from the opposite side as well. So the first set of crew didn't care. They just threw caution to the wind, and they just said, okay, well, you know what? We ain't gonna bother her. But there's an urgency to whether he's attached or not. Come on, that's what makes me question that second set of crew. Because are you really telling me that an entire crew didn't care, and that was not one person who raised the flag? That's really kind of crazy. Really, really crazy. All righty. Talk about crazy. You have this mother 48 who embroiled in some custody battle with her child's father, and now the poor child, 11 years old, had to be the casualty of war in this battle. She slit his throat with a butcher knife. Yep, a large kitchen knife that she had purchased the day before. So this was all premeditated. We've talked about last year, I believe it was last year, we talked about these parents who killed the children or harmed the children because they're in some craziness with the parent.
I never understand why the child has to be the product of all this foolishness, you know. And in every single situation that we've ever seen, the child is usually the end result. You know, it's not like mom or dad says, okay, give it to the, you know, the next sibling or somebody else. It's always the child, you know, and I can't even fathom my baby that I love, that I went through however many months and gave birth to this living, breathing being. I can't even imagine 11-year-old, I don't care how old he was, taking the knife and going from one side of your neck, watching you struggle, watching the blood ooze out, and watching you trying to struggle and breathe to fight against me. You know, the whole time. I can't even, you know, and my thing is that mentality, I'm going to get you back by whatever means necessary, is way beyond what I could even fathom. You know, because my thing is, that's what she's doing. You know, I'm going to give him this whole facade that we're going to Disney and I'm taking your life, and I'm taking my life and his life. So now you have nobody. And the trauma of him, you know, people have a tendency to underestimate the love between a father and his child, you know, and this is what you do. How horrible. You know, and now he's got to deal with all of this. I'm actually glad that she was caught before, because she was going to take the easy way out. Oh, I'm going to end my life, and that's done. I don't have to deal with any of the repercussions. So she should serve, and she should serve for the rest of her life.
That's right. Yeah, she tried to be up out of here, and thank you, God, that she did not, you know, end up dead. Because she needs to live through this. She needs to pay for this, like you said, for the rest of her life. We got a good morning from Vivian. Hey, Vivian, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. And Terrence says she really wanted him to feel alone. Also, she really loved that man to do something like that. Yeah, you know, they say, man, once you hurt somebody, they are going all out their way to make sure that you suffer. We got our last story. Now, is this like, should we be really celebrating these sanitation workers who, died of cancer. They say over 100 sanitation workers lost their life because of cancer after helping to clean up all that debris from 9/11. And they are providing these particular individuals, children, and their siblings with extra credits on their civil service exam. They say bringing them in the line with firefighters and cops. Is that compensation?
Absolutely not. Anybody that I ended up stuck during 9/11. I was trying to get home. I ended up going uptown because we couldn't go downtown because there was so much fumes and dust and debris. And I remember, at that time, I had issues with breathing. So I was diagnosed as bronchial asthma. So just going into that area started to cause, my throat to constrict. And just being out there, I'm sure that they had to be ill-equipped because this is something that we had never had to conquer before.
Right.
You've got firefighters, you've got your police workers, and of course, somebody's got to be able to clean up all of that, and it would not surprise me, I think it was 3 days afterwards, they said that now you can go into the areas.
Yeah.
And, even on the trains and the subways, you could literally smell the debris, the residue. And so it wouldn't surprise me that now these gentlemen and women that were out there working and cleaning, are now affected. How would you not be wanted? That did not come out right at all. How would you not want to take care of their children, their spouses, the medical bills that are now left that somebody has to pay, anybody with cancer, anybody that has to deal with somebody, that's a long, slow, sometimes dealing with all of the, and for you to be so inconsiderate and not provide for them, and it should be inclusive. That little thing that you're given, that's not even, that's literally just a drop of bucket. It's not even taking care of half of the stuff that these people now have to deal with.
Right. When I'm here, I am, Tamika, get my hopes up, right? Reading this article. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know what? They are the forgotten crew. A lot of people, we didn't remember them, because all they ever talked about firefighters and cops, but nobody really talked about the sanitation workers. So when I read it, I was like, oh my goodness, that they are remembering them. And I read that, I was like, are they serious? Extra points on a civil service exam? Yo, really, y'all?
That's really why I was glad that I was in the back office, because if you could have seen my face, I was like, what?
Oh my goodness. I was like so thrown when I read this. I was like, you really, you really have got to step your game up. We have Ainsley, who says the sanitation workers should receive the same benefits as others. Absolutely. You can't possibly think that this is something big you're doing. You can't. They worked for the city, and the city needs to compensate them appropriately. These people don't have that income anymore that person was providing. So, I also venture to say that, you do get survivor's benefits, but that's based on income. That's based on, what you brought in. So we don't know, how much money these individuals made. And now here you are, with nothing but some civil service points. So they really need to step their game up. We have Terrence, who's talking about the airplane issue. He said that's crazy because you got to go by the rules, but she has documents stating that this child needs this machine. Come on, that trumps everything. Let me tell you something. If there was some danger in the air, Tamika, they wouldn't be able to say, all right, go ahead and let them fly. These documents wouldn't work at any time. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to put that in place. All righty. Ainsley says, who would want that job after seeing how personnel is treated? It's true. But I'm telling you, everybody running for sanitation, corrections, the MTA, these are all the jobs that people are running to get. All because they do overtime. All the overtime. That's all they talk about is the overtime. Yeah, well, see what the overtime did? I'm sure they got a whole lot of overtime pay trying to clean up this debris from 9/11. And look what it cost them. Look what it cost them. Thank you so much for indulging me in our regular news. Now, it's just us today, and I don't know how long I have you, but Pastor KL is really ill from what I understand. So we're going to keep him lifted in prayer. All right. So let's talk about this topic that we have today. Trust in our relationship. So we are going to hang on to you as long as we can, but we're talking about signs that show that your partner really does not trust you. And one of the first things they talk about is they frequently question your intentions. Would you say that that's a sign that they don't trust you?
Absolutely. Everything is a question. I'm going in. What you doing? Where you going? This is something that I normally do. Everything that I do. Well, why are you wearing that? Where you going? Why you so dressed up? Wait a minute. And I like style. I like a little perfume, a little lipstick. I'm at work. I'm literally sitting there at work. I got on a little glass, little something. Why you got to put on makeup first thing in the wait a minute, it automatically makes me think that you don't trust me, and we've also talked about issues in the past. When you get into a new relationship, make sure that you are truly healed, because you cause damage to your new relationship by dealing with something that happened in the past. Okay, fine. She cheated on you and she was, getting up in the morning and going out with somebody else, and, now you got a new relationship and she just likes makeup, and she's up in the morning and she likes to make herself look good first thing, and she's doing it for you. But because of the issues that happened in the past, now you're causing damage to the new relationship because you haven't been healed from the first.
Absolutely. And like you said, that's all behind these trust issues. When you have not healed and you coming right up in a relationship, and now everybody's got to deal with your being neurotic and paranoid and all of this kind of stuff. So definitely them questioning your intention is a big flag. What about they say they keep tabs on you?
Absolutely. And as soon as you go off schedule, they spazzing out. You went to the store and it took a little longer. Maybe as you were driving to the store, there was a backup, whatever the case may be. Things happen, situations happen, and because you are off schedule, or you checking the what is that thing to check to see how far you went from one place to another. I know it takes this amount of time. The tracking. Yeah. And now I know people that actually track their spouse and the spouse doesn't know it. So you looking to see where they are. Technology is amazing, and it's sad. Not that I'm saying that anybody should do that, but it's horrible, and that's because of your issue, not theirs.
Right. Absolutely. They get jealous over anything.
And that's definitely a real big sign. I haven't even done anything worth you getting, all out of sorts, and you just don't trust anything I do say, and I'm very, unpredictable. Let's just say you have someone who's like that. One day she dresses up, one day she's got on sneakers, one day she's really, really prissy, but everything that you do, you're jealous, even just with conversations with family, oh, she's talking to her mother. Maybe she's doing something. Maybe, that's a real, you cause trauma to your relationship.
And jealousy, let's take a pin there for a minute. Jealousy will make you do some real crazy things.
Absolutely. Show up at a job. Wait a minute, I'm working. You know, she's going to lunch, maybe go with a coworker. You know, that's what they do. It doesn't mean anything. You know, it could be a same sex, coworker, but because you don't trust anything, you know, you showing up at a job. You know, she's at a mom. She look out the window. Are you sitting in the car? You know, those type of things will make you go far above and beyond.
Absolutely. Jealousy is a monster. A monster. They avoid being vulnerable.
Meaning the person is avoids.
They avoid that's how you know that they don't trust you, because if they're not vulnerable, if they don't put themselves out there, that's an indication that they're not really trusting you.
Yeah. And I don't want you to see my soft side, because if I don't trust you and you see my soft side, then you can take advantage of me. I'm already vulnerable because of the issues that I still haven't gotten healed from. And now if I show you that this part hurts, I feel like you're going to take advantage of that one thing. So I'm not going to show it to you at all.
Right.
I'm just going to keep blaming you so that you don't see that really I'm really soft right there.
And exposing, nobody wants to be exposed, and I'm surely not going to expose myself voluntarily. So that vulnerability thing, that's big. That is really big. They assume you're lying when you're not.
I can't even tell you the truth because you don't believe anything I say anyway.
It's so true.
Nothing I say.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's off the wall. Nothing that I say is true. You know, okay, fine. I went such and such a place. It took a little longer. I don't believe you. Well, what's the purpose of telling you the truth if you're not going to believe anything I say anyway?
And you know what? Have you seen, because I've seen this in some movies or whatever, and I know you're not a movie buff, but I've seen this on TV and movies where the person just tells the lie and that's what makes the person happy. You ever seen that? It's like, okay, because like you said, if I tell you the truth, you're not gonna believe the truth, but you'll believe this elaborate lie. So they opt to tell the elaborate lie, and the person's like, oh, okay. Well, that's all you had to say. And it's not even the truth. So this just goes to show you how crazy this world is. All right. Oh, they hold past mistakes against you. That shows that they don't trust you, Tamika.
Listen, we need to get this conversation over, because every time I do such and such, I don't need you bringing it up. You know, that was an issue that we should have resolved. 6 years later, you still bringing up something that happened, way back. Doesn't make any sense. So I can't move. We corporately can't move together, or move together, meaning in life, because you keep bringing up stuff from the past.
Right. Absolutely. It's amazing that we are creatures of this type of habit, because now you have this feigned what do you call it? Now I have to make you believe something that's not even true. I gotta make you believe something not even true, just so that you can leave me alone about the truth. So this is just crazy. I'm gonna have our girl Shantice jump on with me so we can continue this conversation. Good morning, Shantice.
Good morning, Pastor Steph. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I am well. We're playing a little musical chairs here this morning.
Yes.
We are praying for Pastor KL to feel better. And as always, you don't need no invitation to join this conversation. If you've experienced something, or if you got a thought, make sure you give it to us so we could talk about this thing. So we're talking about things that your partner does that shows that they don't fully trust you.
Yeah.
And they struggle to believe your affection is genuine. That's big. That is big.
Oh man. You just want to say a whole lot of ungodly things. Because it's like, it's one thing when you're being questioned because you're actually doing something. And even when you feel like you're covering it up, you're really not covering it up. And then you get mad like, Dad, why they not falling for it? Why they not falling for it? It's another, I don't know what that, I think I'll be spitting some gems past the Steph because the fireworks be going off, the thumbs up. That was happening.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What just happened? She's got fireworks going up for herself?
That was happening all last week when you were down the week before. And I was like, I don't know what I'm saying, God, but you must be saying, I'm spitting some real godly truth here.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes, it's one thing when they're accusing you, but they don't know emphatically, and you're praying that they don't know the truth. It's another when they question your affection and the good deeds when it's genuine. And it's like, if I don't know, I can speak for myself. After a while, it makes me not want to do anything. And it makes me look at you like, that's because you're fake. You're so fake. Oh my God. You're so fake that when something nice is like when it's genuinely being done for you, I might as well just take a butcher knife and stab you in your temple, because it's like there's no way this could be done without any strings attached, without with this being 100% genuine. Like, what do you mean? Like, the question I kept getting asked was, what makes me so special? And when I was asked about the fourth time, I really wanted to say, you're not special, so go outside and kill yourself, because I'm not. If you ask me one more time, ask me again, and I'm literally ready to like fist fight you. And it wasn't until, that's why I said, if y'all don't stay on, if y'all are not consistent with listening to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, I can't speak for any other podcast or broadcast that's out there. God be hitting at the right time with certain topics. It wasn't until after I kept getting that question asked over and 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 over. And then the Lord would have you, Pastor Steph, bring things up on a Monday morning in regards to relationships, whether it was friendship, intimate relationships, or whatever. And it would pinpoint things that was literally being said to me. And I'm like, wow, this person is so fake. It's just like people who don't want to be held accountable. They despise accountability so much that even when you talk to them about holding someone else accountable, they respond to you like you're talking to them. It's like, hello, I said, Jeffrey, your name is Rich. Why are you so upset? I'm talking about them. You know, it's just like that. So it's scary. It's scary to know that people despise these things so much to where they can't accept it because they're even more jacked up than what they realize. But yeah, it's amazing.
You know, this issue with whether you feel you're worthy of affection or not is it's a deeply rooted insecure issue. So before I go any further, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Majesty. Hey, Majesty, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
And Terrence says, yes, so correct. A relationship will never never last if you bring your past into your present. Also be clear of your past and move forward. It's true, but a lot of people don't do that, Terrence. They just got full-fledged ahead because they got to be in a relationship. Good morning to Deacon Diallo. Good morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. So this issue with this, I can't believe that your affection is genuine. This is some deeply, deeply rooted self-esteem issue. And here's the thing. Let's talk about this for a minute. Here's the thing. You mentioned they just kept asking and asking and asking and asking over and over and over again. Because at what point, your insecurity will drive the other person crazy, and they don't even want to be bothered anymore.
Exactly.
It's hard enough to display affection and be vulnerable. We just talked about being vulnerable, and it's very hard to be vulnerable if you've been hurt before. So you go ahead and you put, you put it out there, and you show a level of affection, and then now all of a sudden you got to deal with this. Is it real? Do you really mean it? Is it true? I don't know how to handle it, because nobody's ever been affectionate with me before, or because they've been affectionate with me before and broke my heart. I don't know how to receive it. And because it's red, green, and orange, and it's not white, red, and blue. It doesn't really make. What in the world?
This killed me.
Yeah. You just get so turned off that you don't even want to be bothered. So listen, people. Again, I'm gonna keep going back to last night's prayer. Trust God with your life. And I do understand if you've been hurt, the hesitancy, but you can't sabotage a new relationship because of the old ones. So,
but not only can you not sabotage God, Pastor Steph, but it's just like what you just said. You're questioning it because of whatever you've been through, which you probably brought on yourself. You're not considering what it may take the person to show you this level of affection that you're continuously questioning. Right. Showing affection, doing for others means taking away from yourself.
Right.
A lot of people are not willing to do that now. Or if they are, they're willing to do it to where it doesn't mean sacrificing what I want to do for me, even if it's something selfish. So it's like, okay, Shantice, you could really go without 5 extra minutes of pampering yourself to take those 5 minutes to go run to the corner store for so-and-so. Where to someone else, that could be nothing. Where for me, I want those extra 5 minutes. And the last time I gave my extra 5 minutes, they trashed it. So now God is putting it on my heart to do it for you. I'm telling God, God, you must be bugged. I'm not doing that. Because remember what happened with the 5 minutes before? So I don't want to do it. So where you're so busy, isn't me, no. You have no idea what it takes. You're on the receiving end. You have no idea what it takes for the giver to give.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that makes me so upset. Like, yes, even the giver has been given and is being given. Because even if you're just thinking about it with God and Jesus, they're continually given to you in order for you to give. You can't give if God and Jesus is not given to you. At the same time, when you're thinking so like, okay, the immediate and the natural, ain't nobody really giving me like that. Or my giving seems a little sparse, a little scarce. It seems real limited. And now God wants me to give what I feel like is limited to you. And now you sitting here and you questioning it.
Right. Absolutely. All right. They get defensive over small things. That's how you know that that somebody is not trusting you. Your partner is not trusting you, because everything you do, they get defensive. What you got to say about that one, Shantice?
It gets so
Stop looking so flustered.
Cause these are things that I've been trying to put in the back of my mind and not think about, because when I think about it, it makes me mad. It's so remedial to the point. I had an argument with someone over toothpaste. Because listen, I don't know who cares or who doesn't. I do not like to share any hygiene products. Okay? I don't care what we do. I don't care how sexual it gets. Do not grab my toothpaste to put on your toothbrush.
Help me, Jesus.
I don't care nothing about you claiming you claiming that the toothpaste don't hit your toothbrush. Listen, when you get up in the morning, your coordination is not as on point as you claim it is. Okay, sometimes you make a mistake and you slip and it hits the toothbrush, and now I gotta come behind you. No, I had a whole argument about that with someone. I even went and bought them their own toothpaste just to show the godly side of me, and it still didn't matter. It still didn't matter because all that was considered was, you don't want me using your toothpaste. What does it matter if you have your own? That I bought.
Wait, hold up. First of all, you need to say in your former life, because this sounds like this was yesterday.
I'm sorry. In my once upon a time life.
So let's clarify that, please.
Wait, let me put that into a banner. In my once upon a time life. Hold on.
All right. Wait, Tamika, really quick while we have you here. We'll come back to Shantice. What do you say about, they get defensive over small things?
Why are you so super sensitive? First of all, I'm a female, so you shouldn't be any more sensitive than I am. What is the problem? Like, who didn't do what was supposed to be done in your childhood that now I got to pay for it as an adult? Please understand that when mama didn't do right, when daddy didn't do you right as a child, whatever it is that they didn't do, I got to deal with now in your manhood, and vice versa.
Right.
If it's the other time.
Right.
I'm not dealing. Listen, it's not my responsibility to raise you. That was mama and daddy. I'm not going to redo what mama and daddy didn't do. I apologize, but no.
Terrence wants to know who hurt my poor Shantice. We need to give her a hug.
Please. So a seed of hugs.
That's why I had to say, girl, you better put it out there that's in your former life, because, boy, you talk about them things and they show it in the movies all the time. As soon as you start talking about that thing, it's like it happened 5 minutes ago. That's exactly and you start reacting as though it's happening right now. That's the way you were reacting. That's the way you were responding.
I'm sorry, Saint.
And I thought I had to come in and defibrillate you.
I'm sorry.
That's the way I felt, Tamika. Wait, while we got you on, they test you constantly, Tamika. This is how they show you whether they realize it or not, that they really don't trust you. They test you constantly.
Absolutely. Everything, so I'm really bad with sometimes remembering how long it took me to do such and such. Well, I thought you said you finished such and such at 12 o'clock. Well, maybe it was 12:30. You spazzing out for half an hour? Listen, if you that really, that sensitive about every little thing that I do, you're going to really lose your mind, because half of the time I can't remember what I did. You want to know what I ate for breakfast? I have absolutely no idea. It's just not that important to me.
All righty. Let me grab you while I still got you. They need constant reassurance.
Women, ladies, ladies. It's one thing when I have to constantly reassure you that nothing's going on, that I'm not doing anything, that I'm not going anywhere, that the phone call that I'm in really is a cousin. And I understand that people do that. But listen, if you can't trust me now, then you're never going to be able to trust me. And that constant reassuring, maybe the first couple of times is okay. After a while, it gets stressful. Person who's trying to reassure you, and the average person will literally cut short. Listen, I ain't got that much energy. It's not that much energy. And I got to text you while I'm at work right now. I got to text you while I'm at work to make sure that you're reassured that I'm really at work. It's just way too much. You're causing too much strain and stress for that person, for the receiver.
That's right. Shantice, they pull away emotionally.
Once a man pulls away from you emotionally, you get treated like absolute garbage. You get treated like the tissue they wipe themselves with, like what they step, like, you know, you go outside, you step on something, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just stepped on that. Like that's how you get treated. I'm serious. I'm not lying.
This girl is scarred. This girl is scarred.
I'm not lying. That's how you get treated, because it takes a lot, for whatever reason, for men to feel some type of emotion, even when the emotion is jaded, even when it's manipulative, even when the intentions on the emotions are not what it's supposed to be. So when they finally have that and then it's gone for whatever idiotic reason, that's how you get treated. And you don't ever see it coming. See, like women will let you know it's coming. Like, you 5 minutes away, bro, from me not caring about you at all. Like, you will be told this. Men is just like, you go to bed at 10, don't have to use the bathroom at 11:30 because emotions are going. Like that's it. Like it's just over. And if you pay attention to the man, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to detect it, because they won't say nothing. They won't say anything. The action they say, and for me, that's the most degrading part of it. It's like your emotions are so gone that you don't even feel like the woman deserves to know anything or be told anything. So yeah, when they emotionally check out, it's like the worst.
Wow. All right. We have Anika who says relationships shouldn't be so draining, but uplifting to each other. Absolutely. Everything we just got finished talking about was how you drain a person. That's what we really should have called this list. How do you drain your partner? Shantice, it is now just about that time where we would be turning it over to you. Have we disturbed? Are you prepared? Do you still have what you got for us?
I think the Lord is saying we need to keep this conversation going.
All right, listen, I'm good. I just don't want to disturb your flow. Yeah. Let's go back to some of the things that you did not speak about in the beginning that we gave to Tamika. They keep tabs on you. We're talking about this issue of them, your partner showing they don't really trust you. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is they keep tabs on you. What do you say about that one?
I had someone put my it must have been when I went to the bathroom or something, the restroom. They went in my phone and turned my tracker on so that they could track me. I didn't know it. I wasn't told this until like months later. And I was like, where did I go? He's like, he was only home. And I was like, dang. That's it? Had I known, I would have went to so-and-so's house just so you could get mad. Just so you could get mad. I'm going to give you something to find. It's like, why are we going through all of that? You feel like you have to know all my... And see, here's what always gets me in trouble and why. Whenever I ever cheated, even in my once upon a time life when I was running the streets, I and Pastor Steph can tell you, because this was my pastor mommy, and this one used to get me caught by her a whole lot of times in my once upon a time life and even in my teen life. I never had a big group. I never hung with a lot of people. So it was only about maybe 4, maybe 5 people I could be with. So I couldn't come back and lie and say, oh, I was with so-and-so. Nope, I called them. Oh, I was with so-and-so. Nope, I was able to get in touch with them. No, you weren't. So I always got caught, whether I cared about getting caught or not. I just always got caught. But you have to know my every move to the point where you then went in my phone and now you put the tracker on so you can see where I'm going. And then I was only home. Now I'm mad. I'm mad you ain't find nothing. But it's ridiculous. If you have to go through all of that, then just let me go. Because even with me being home, you still gonna get on my nerves.
Oh my goodness gracious. Tamika talked about, that whole tracking situation. And it's real. It's real. You know, whether I think she said something about like a married couple, but like you're describing, you weren't married, and
Right.
you know, it's going to take us into the next thing. They get jealous over the smallest things. Something had to flag in that person's head. Well, their jealousy took them to keeping tabs on you. And this jealousy thing can really grow to be a nasty monster if you allow it to. If you don't get control over your feelings, then you'll be all over the place, like putting trackers on people's phones. So here was my thing. My question becomes, well, what were you gonna do if you found her there at a certain time? Were you planning on showing up,
Pastor Steph? Because that was my direct question. Because when the tracker was put on my phone, I was actually cheating after a while. Not when you first put it on. But my spider senses must have told me he ain't trust me no way, so I went and did me. And my question was, so had you looked while I was over at his house, what did you think? How did you think? Write me the script. You know, on Facebook at one point, that was a thing to post. Me, such and such, Richard said this, me said that. What do you think the dialogue, what would have happened had you came and knocked on that door? How do you think that would have played out? I really want to, because I know how that would have played out, and it wouldn't have played out with me leaving with you. So on top of that, then your ego would have really been a mess because I would have stayed there. So you would have tracked me for what? To be further embarrassed?
Wow. You know, I gotta tell you, girl, you never cease to amaze me. I don't feel like I know you at all.
But you're my pastor, Mom.
Who is this person?
You know me all my life.
I don't know. I do not know. There's some alien that I've been knowing. Now there's another person, the real you. So I should say at any given moment, will the real Shantice please step forward? Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. We got a couple of minutes about being vulnerable. You know, they avoid being vulnerable. You know, that's because they really don't trust you.
Yes. So now you don't get so you're being vulnerable, you're pouring yourself out, and they claim they are, but they cap themselves, because it's like, I'm not about to pour myself out only for you to do what I already have set in my mind that you're either doing already or you're going to do. So now as the woman, you sense that and you get even more frustrated. And after a while, you fall back. Now they sense that you fall back. Now they mad. How you mad? You've set the tone for what we don't share. You said it's limited share time. I'm not going to be extending myself during share time. And when it's your turn to share, now we hear crickets. No, it don't work. You want to see a woman get mad? Let her know that she's just, and it's not even planned. It's just because I feel comfortable, because I want to be able to share with you. Let the men. There's been a whole lot of posts going around about these things. I hope y'all are paying attention. Y'all following the people who are posting it, because it's some real stuff. When a woman feels comfortable enough with you to just open up to you, and she wants you to be the one that she can open up to, and then you show her that you're not, it don't matter how much you act like you listening. When she notices you're not sharing, it makes her shut down. Do not then get mad when she's now going with the tone that you're setting. That's so remedial. Don't do it. But yeah, they don't want to be vulnerable because now it's like, oh, well, if you decide to get up and walk away, then now you know how I feel. So you holding back showed a lot about how you feel too. Remember that as well.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Wait. I gotta see what Terrence said. Wait. I gotta see what Terrence says. Hold on a minute. Terrence says we have to
Talking
check every guy she talks to from now on. Yes, Terrence. We have to screen these people. Terrence, for us. Because that's what we end up with. We ain't screening them for her. We screening them for us. For the show. Oh my goodness. Every man she talks to or chats, we need to do a background check. Absolutely. For our sanity, Terrence, for our sanity. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, I just got like one more we have here, and then it'll be time for us to check out of this joint. All right, we've got, they frequently question your intentions. That's how you know they don't trust you.
I had someone wake me up in the middle of the night to tell me that they had a dream that I was cheating on them. And I had to make sure I wasn't laying with a woman. Because typically only women do that. And I'm like, you're waking me up. And it wasn't just like a soft tap. It was like, again, like a female. Like you ever like watched a movie or a show and the man is sleeping and the woman's just sitting up staring at him. And then after a while, she may like slap the back of his head or something. like that's exactly what it was. Because it was one time I was asleep and woke up and he was just sitting there staring. It is dark. There ain't no TV on him. And I'm like, all right, do I have to hide the knives? Because this is like beyond creepy. Who just sits here? I thought I only did that. But not when they sleep. But you question my intentions so much to now you're dreaming about it. But now you're thinking the dream is putting you on to what I'm doing. No, schizo. You're thinking about it so much that you're causing yourself to create these scenarios even in your sleep. So now neither of us can sleep because you got these make-believe scenarios going on that has you questioning my intentions towards you. And little do you, this just goes to show that you don't know me, because if you think I'm gonna mess up my sleep because I want to be fake for you or to you, I'd sooner tell you to kick rocks and skedaddle so that you can go do you and sleep and I can do me and sleep. But you're so concerned about the intentions that you drive yourself crazy. You don't give yourself any peace.
All righty. Listen, I need you to make sure you put, before you start
my
talking,
once upon a time life, Saints. This is my once upon a time life.
Oh my goodness. You know, I'm going to say this publicly. This was a big shift from talking to Tamika.
That's because you're talking to Shantice.
Anytime you hit this screen, girl, you just live. And this is why the skyrockets were, this is why the fireworks was going off. This is why the fireworks were going off. Because we never know what you gonna say. Oh my. Thank you so much, Shantice, for your contribution into today's conversation. I have no doubt that your switch tip would not have touched this. Thank you so much for jumping in and filling in the blanks for like 5 people. Thank you so much. We pray you have a blessed day.
It was my once upon a time life thing.
Oh my goodness gracious. Ooh, child. The grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. That's 2 Corinthians 13:14. And that's our benediction today. Like, what do you say? I got to tell y'all, when she starts talking, my breath just leaves my body. And it's like, I'm never prepared for this, kid. I am never prepared. And Pastor KL has a saying. He says, everybody has their audience. And it's true. It's very true. And, all jokes aside, I think about, I didn't do this when God first called me to do the broadcast. I didn't do this. He gave me to speak to Christian wives. And, it was a dynamic experience. We talked about every woman brought to the table her wisdom and knowledge regarding that particular topic. Now, all they had was praying for my husbands, and they filled in the blank. I had a list and they filled in the blank. And I encourage you to go back and listen. I encourage you to just pull up, let's say, prayer for my husband's future. And you're going to get, that. Pull up a Closer Walk Christian talk show, prayer for my husband, and you'll get all of the different topics. And it was an amazing experience. It shifted from that, and it went to, if God did surgery on my husband, he would cut out his, and they got to fill in the blank. And I didn't have a list. It was straight on them. And woo-wee. And then we went to, the enemy tried to steal my husband's blank, but God. So as you could see, it just kept getting elevated and getting elevated. And then there was like this slight pause. And the next thing I got was this morning broadcast, because that would take place in the evenings. And God gave every bit of the specifications. The only thing he didn't do was give me the title, but he gave me the time. He gave me from 7 to 9 each morning. He gave me Monday through Friday. He laid out everything. And then, we just filled in the blanks. And when I look at what God has in this broadcast, it's the first thing in the morning, 7 to 9, as you're getting ready or as you're traveling. As always, we've always been on demand. So if you didn't catch us during the time of live broadcast, you could always go back and listen. I think about the cast of characters here. This Due Time crew is an authentic crew. They've never had an issue with being transparent. Whatever God put out there for them to say, they were never timid about saying it. And thus, like I said, Pastor KL always said, everybody's got their audience. And the fact of the matter is, we don't know who's listening. We have no idea who's listening. We don't know who's going through what. And here's the thing. I respect the transparency that God is putting forward, because this is not us ministering. And I'm going to be honest, there's been some transparency that some people it's been hard for them to digest, whether it's them personally, whether it's someone they know, whether it's, if it just hit home like that. It's been very difficult to digest. But let me help you with something here. God needs deliverance, and he cannot help use sinful people to help deliver. Their lives are saturated in sin. He cannot use that to deliver. What he needs to use to deliver is who we are. And it's what I was saying last night when we were in our prayer time, in our prayer room, is the fact that, we're supposed to experience this and then tell of God's goodness. We're supposed to experience this stuff and let people know that God is the change agent. I'm not like that anymore. I can't talk as though I don't know God when God has done so much for me and I claim to be his. It's time for me to shout it from the mountaintop that Jesus saves. It's time for me to shout from the mountaintop that Jesus delivers. It is time for me to shout it from the mountaintop where I've come from. This whole concept of the Lord has brought me from a mighty long way, and that's all you saying, that is dead. Because people are quick to tell you, you don't understand. You don't know where I've been. And I tell people, please don't tell me that. Please don't tell me, because I don't wear on my sleeve, I don't look like what I've been through, that I have not been through anything. I don't know nothing about what you've been through, baby. If I were to look like what I've been through, Pastor Steph couldn't talk to you today. Trust me when I tell you, I couldn't share anything with you, because I'd be groveling all over this ground. All over the ground. I could not pick myself up, but I owe it to God. I owe it to you to tell what I've gone through. I owe it to you to tell you my mentality yesterday, but my mentality is different today, because God has brought me into a level of newness. It's my responsibility to tell you how I was living, and I thought I was fine. And then God just, there's a transformation that took place, that when I think about where I've been, and I'm like, ooh, did I think like that? Oh, did I live like that? Oh, did I do those things? See, that's what's supposed to be going on. See, we're not supposed to think about our past and our history and just, blow it up and we're bragging about it. No, we're supposed to be bragging about what God has done since then. That's why it is so important. When Pastor KL, pegged that tagline of in my former life, because see, that we owe it to you to let you know that no matter what you're going through, we serve a God that can change and turn anything around. That we serve a God that is not smashing us for where we've been, but he's going to take and use our experience to help you become aware that he's that kind of God. So many people are walking this earth feeling that, you know what, God don't want me. So many people are walking this earth feeling like God can't use me. He can't, I'm just too bad. People literally say, I'm just too bad for God to use. God don't want nothing like me. No, God wants that exact you. God wants that you. Because see, when he turns it around, he's going to lift you up, put you on a pedestal and say, look at what I've done. See, he wants to get the credit for everything that has gone on in your life. That transformation, he wants to get the glory from it. He don't want you walking around here scared to open up your mouth, afraid of what you've been through. I remember, and I've said this before, I remember when I was talking a few times after I had been arrested, I had been talking about it and talking about something. And as soon as I got ready to say that part, when I, got arrested, or when I was behind the bars, and longest 36 hours of my life, never happened again. I would stop just short of saying it. So the third time this happened, I got ready to say it. And I was like, oh no, I can't say that. And the Lord said, are you crazy? I'm telling you, this is how God spoke to me. He says, are you crazy? He said, I gave you that story. You better tell that story. Now, I don't know how many people have been blessed by that story. And unfortunately, I can't tell you what episode I talked about it in, but I don't know how many people have been blessed by that experience that I had. How many people were able to think about maybe something they had done in their life and it turned them around? Because what happened to me was just nonsense. I hadn't even done anything. But when I tell the whole story, what the enemy had for bad, God had for good. But I am still eating my sin from running from God. Jonah was not the only person who was in the belly of the fish, because that 36 hours of me sitting behind bars was my fish. He sat me there long enough for me to realize and understand that my life does not belong to me. That whatever God calls me to do, that's my life. That's my responsibility. Now, I don't know how many people have been assisted with what they've gone through based on my testimony. So when God gives us something to say, we have no other obligation but to say it. I can't worry about your feelings. I can't worry about how you all temperamental. I can't worry about, oh my gosh, you talked about so-and-so. Too bad. Too bad. Because I'm following the Lord who sees the big picture while you looking at the small picture. While I was looking at the small picture and was like, I can't talk about this. I can't say this. God was like, no. I need you, Stephanie, to look at the big picture, because right now I need you. I need to use you to save lives. You have a responsibility. You just didn't go through that for nothing. Yeah, you may have been the cause of you going through that. But now I'm going to put that on public display so that I can make you an example of what not to do. That I can make you an example of what you need to do. So this is what I love about this platform, because God has partnered me up with people who is like, yo, it's out there. It's out. That's what I did. And I'm letting you know, this is what God did. And you know, when, like I said, when Pastor KL coined that phrase, in my former life, that was so poignant to this group. So poignant to this group, because this group has to tell of the then and the now. And what better way to say it than in my former life? Because the Bible speaks of our former days. You know, well, God has turned things around. All things have become new. So we need to say, in my former life, just to let people know that you are a new creation. Ooh, there we go. You are a new creation. You can turn this thing around if you put your hand in God's hands. If you put your life in God's hands, there's nothing he can't do with you. All right. Craft Corner, our girl Nicole, give her a shout out and let her know that, you know, Pastor Steph sent you. Pastor Steph is sending you to someone who does some fantastic work. So you will not be disappointed. Pastor Steph is also sending you to ispersonalizedhere.com. Yes, www.ispersonalizedhere.com. There we go. It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Now listen, if you want an It's Due Time with Pastor Steph shirt, all you got to do is hit me up. Let me know. DM me or Coach for Christian Life on Facebook. And you can email me, coach4christianlife@yahoo.com. And I don't mind sharing. I don't mind, you know, you sporting the It's Due Time with Pastor Steph shirt, hoodie, crew neck. Too much for a hat, but yeah, you can get things on a hat as well. All right. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit as you go through your day. Be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off. And I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Be sure to keep Pastor KL lifted in prayer, because other than that, he would definitely have been on with us today. Thank you for joining me in this chat room and keeping things live. And you want to make sure you're here tomorrow, God's space, to get that chat going on again. Please do not miss the opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Please don't forget to join us God spares tomorrow morning for Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day. Until then, I love you.